So we are going to be talking about chapter 12, neuroscience and andragogy, and pretty much how the brain is developing as adult learners continue to learn throughout their span of life. Cool. So some of the key concepts here, neuroscience has changed the way that we understand how people learn, specifically adults. And then we have MBE science, which stands for mind, brain, and education science. This science is correlated to education, psychology, and neuroscience, which is constantly creating new understandings of adult learning. Some of the four basic components of the brain, as listed, is the brainstem, the limbic system, which is composed of the thalamus, hypothalamus, hippocampus, and amygdala. And then we have the cerebrum and then the cerebellum. And then some of the key concepts and main ideas is number one, which is just talked about in the book, adults learn throughout life. A key term is neuroplasticity, which is if taught in a conducive way, we can always learn as neuroplasticity continues to change in the brain as adults gather more information. Meta finding number two is emotions are important for adult learning. So positive experiences in adult learning create for long-term storage. Um, and then meta finding number three is that learning happens with old and new knowledge. As adult learners continue to gather new knowledge, their brain has to relate it to previous experiences to see if it's either negative or positive, and to see if it'll be stored in short-term or long-term memory.
So we have six andragogical principles. The first one is the need to know. The second one is the learner self-concept. Then we have role of experience. We have readiness to learn, orientation to learning, motivation to learn. The first one, adults, before they learn something, they have to ask themselves the who, the what, the why, and the how before they learn something. And this happens subconsciously. The other one that I want to touch based on is that our brain is wired to learn for survival. So that goes with readiness to learn. So whenever we have a need to satisfy a developmental need, that's when we want to learn something. And I want to touch base on the last one, which connects that andragogy happens when learning is conducive to adults. So our brain needs to go through a chemical process via neurotransmitters. And whenever that we find like information is beneficial to us or we're going to get something out of it is when learning is easier. My personal experience, I work with UC Davis adult learning programs, and we offer certificate programs. We offer OLLI for people aged 50 and older, and we have contracts. So a lot of these adult learners that enroll in our programs is because they have like an internal value or reason as to why they want to take a class, whether it is to get like a promotion at their jobs or to become like more knowledgeable in their field or just to gain more credibility. They'll take our programs and they have the internal need to problem solve something in their lives as to why they take our programs.
Yeah, so some of my personal experiences, or at least my most recent one, is being a facilitator at a retreat program during my undergrad. And some of the andragogical principles that I want to talk about here is the need to know and readiness to learn, which was mentioned before. As a facilitator, the need to know principle relates to what I had to do answering the five questions of what, why, who, when, and how, and understanding my role as a facilitator and how I needed to help these students as they were incoming into this new program during their freshman year. And in the second principle, readiness to learn, I had to tackle anything that could have stood in my way, specifically because that principle is our strive to be, learning in when it comes to meeting our basic needs. So yeah, that was my experience as a facilitator and how these andragogical principles pretty much related to that. And that is the end of our presentation. And as we mentioned in this slide, or the previous slides, we need to keep learning as adults. Okay.